All right, welcome everybody to How to Be a Trophy Wife, a podcast. This is the first time I've ever had a guest in the same screen as me. This is my super cool husband, Dr. Anthony Mattis, and I put in the thing Dr. and Mrs. Mattis, and it's the first time I ever realized I was a Mrs. I feel like my school teacher. Like, how am I a Mrs.? But that was really cute. I was like, oh, Mrs. I like that. So, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You were a guest on my podcast last year, like a year ago, and we had such an amazing conversation. And my mom was like, that is just such a beautiful way of showing access and such an amazing conversation. And then we started talking about genitals at the end, and she's like, God damn it, I can't send it to all my friends now.
Yeah. Nothing like taking it away from normal to really abnormal.
Yeah.
So people can reject it.
So, well, I mean, I guess you and I have been in a relationship for over 9 years, and it's definitely had its ups and downs, but it's been really amazing and really a gift in so many ways. And what are some of your favorite kind of things that you could share with people about how to create a relationship that's beyond this reality, that's different?
That's so funny. Sometimes I feel like, you dynamically fail at something or don't do, and so I don't know that there is actually a formula, but what I do know is it's like, you need to know, both individuals need to be clear about what it is they'd like to create as their life and living, and sit with each other ongoing, because what was in the beginning may not be what is now. Right. And that can change in 6 months, that can change in 5 years, almost 10 years. It's like, that's a lifetime.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
It is a lifetime in humanoid years.
It's a generation, isn't it? Isn't that considered like a generation or something?
Kind of. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's a something. But it's like, so it's like you need to
evaluate.
Like that. And to me,
it's a great tool.
Gary Douglas talks about, you don't really want a relationship, you want a creationship, right? Because relationship is the comfortable distance between two objects, right? Which would require us to function from autonomy. It's like, this is me and this is mine and this is the way I like it, and it's fine, but you stay over here and you need to be an allowance of how I am, and da-da-da-da. And then it just creates these walls that grow over time. And then again, all that yummy, juicy, sexy stuff that was in the beginning and kind of like dissipates and goes like, hey, where'd that go? Which is common in, I would say, almost all relationships. Yeah. But it's like, if you have a creationship, there's always that energy. There's always that generative energy and creative energy. But it does require both people to sit down and be vulnerable with each other and be like, this isn't working for me. This is working for me. What's working for you? What's not working for you? Without having to defend the rightness of our points of view. Definitely not pointing a finger like, well, you did this. Right. And still reminding each other of what we did that was maybe undesirable 5 years ago. Yeah. And 9 years ago.
We had an argument recently, and it was like, there was a lot of righteousness.
12 hours ago.
I wasn't going to give away the time frame, but yes, it was very recently. And
I'm a lot more literal with time than Julia is.
Well, I was just like, I wasn't going to make it like into a big thing. But yeah. But we had an argument yesterday, and it was all about rightness. But this morning I was like really in the wrongness of me for being so right. But then I was like, okay, what's right about this I'm not getting? And it was like, what it really showed me is like, we got to a lot of really good stuff and a lot of vulnerable stuff that we wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. Sometimes we just have to, go through that harder stuff sometimes.
There's a lot of dynamics in relationships, and it's not what I find. It's never, not, I don't want to say never. It's like you have the thing you think you're arguing about, right? You have the thing you think you're defending, right? You're defending your rightness and you want that other person to validate your rightness, and the other person wants you to validate their rightness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't you see it my way? But what's really interesting is you're both fighting for the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
Where, as they say, like 2/3 of the iceberg is actually, you can't even see it. It's below the surface, right? And so here you are, like, fighting for and defending for the tip of the iceberg, when in actuality there's all this stuff under here that's not even being looked at and addressed. And then that's why sometimes you feel like you're on that merry-go-round and not really going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that requires a huge level of vulnerability and honesty and trust with self first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the other person.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's not easy to do when you're defending, right?
No.
And I don't mean you. I mean you, like me, you too.
And like, I see so many people who are in a relationship and like their spirits have died. And it's like, in order to be in relationship and for each person to like keep creating their own spirit, it really does take a lot of vulnerability with each other, from my point of view. But it can be done. It can be done.
Well, again, that goes back to creationship. It's like the togetherness, I guess, is something that should be generative and creative for both people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, because we are together, both of our lives should be exponentializing. I mean, it's going to have its ups and downs, right? Life throws curveballs at you. There's also other people outside of us as well, like children and in-laws and
one
all
of the
these
great
kinds of
things
things.
about you is your sense of humor.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm like, I don't even know it, and he's
taking off my sweater. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. One of the things that Anthony does is he does naked handstands. So I go into the bedroom and he's upside down doing a naked handstand, and it completely throws me off my game.
Oh, we're going that way. Yeah.
But it's like, there's just so much joy and so much excitement, and you're just such a wild person. And it's like, I think that that's a really important thing. Like, when I was asking for a relationship before I met Anthony, I was like, okay, universe, what would it take to have some of the kindest, happiest, caring, most conscious beings in the universe in my everyday life? And that was my ask. And I asked that for maybe like 6 months or a year. And I thought it was going to be like people showing up in like a writer's group or something. I like pictured everybody around a table. I pictured
like toast masturbators?
Yeah, kind of. I pictured like 5 people around a table, but I couldn't really see who or what it was. And then like a year later, after I started asking that question, we were at the old house and we were all sitting around the table eating dinner. And I was like, wait, this is the table. These are the people.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, that did not show up like I thought it would. It was really amazing. And it was
how
greater.
old were the kids were what at that time?
Yeah, I didn't think they would be kids either,
Probably
but it was kids that showed up, and they were the kindest, happiest beings that I could have asked for. I mean, the kids were like 15, 12, and like 7.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Still infinite beings in little bodies, right? But it matched the energy of what you saw of that sort of energetic vision.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah. I had this real energetic ask in my universe for like, what is, who would really be a contribution in my life, and who I can contribute to, and it would be really fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I don't know. I say we say more about the upside down penis, because there's nothing better than diffusing insanity by seeing an upside down penis where the testicles for once are on top and the penis is on the bottom. So, nothing better to diffuse any kind of insanity. Or
totally.
That's actually a perfect algorithm interrupt. Yep. So when anybody's going cuckoo, ka-choo, upside down penis.
Cuckoo. That's what we call it around our house. When you're going cuckoo, it's called cuckoo ka-choo.
That's right.
Yeah. And then this is the Trophy Wife podcast too. I kind of wanted to start today's conversation with relationships, but this is also about Trophy Wife. And like, you have really, the first time that I met you, or the first time that we really started like hanging out, going on dates, was in Colorado in Denver. And you were such a contribution to me because we went out for lunch and it was really hard for me to go to that class financially, but I knew I really had to go for some reason. And we had lunch and we shared like a wedge salad and something else. And you paid for it. And I was like, whoa. And it wasn't just like that you had paid for lunch. It was that you paid for lunch and that was such a contribution to me at that time. But it was also the energy that you were being. Like it was this energy of just like having my back and like it was like you were like enveloping me kind of. And like, oh, I'm gonna cry.
Aw.
Oh, it was really
Thanks.
sweet. Sorry.
We're still dealing with the residual the last 12 to 18 hours. Aw. Aw.
That was really sweet. And
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, you were like really taking care of me. And oh shit, I've never cried on the Trophy Wife.
All right,
podcast.
it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for upside down naked penis. All right, here we go. Ready? Oh, yeah, never mind. That's for the next call.
You have the Kleenex over there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm losing it. But you were just so sweet with me, and you've always had that energy with me, and that's kind of that's part of the energy of Trophy Wife beyond this reality, not
Say
human
more about
reality.
let's say more about the Trophy Wife, because when I first heard Gary give you that title, I was like, how can you be a trophy wife? I don't have enough money in the bank.
You're doing okay.
You take good care of me. Nah, yeah, I know, but I'm talking. When you think trophy wife, man, you're thinking like I need to have a yacht.
You need a bigger, better,
houses all over the world, and maybe be a little bit uglier than I am right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I was like, "How you're not a trophy wife? What the fuck?" It's like
Yeah.
Anyway, but when he talk about the energy of trophy wife, because I think it's pretty cool thing.
I think there we go. I think that part of the energy of trophy wife is like it's like the willingness to receive in a way you're not supposed to receive.
Mhm.
Like I think that all of us are taught to be so independent as women and do things on our own, and we always have this conflict of like I want somebody who just takes care of me and pays for me, but I have to do everything on my own and I can never have that. And there's like constantly these two things running in the background at the same time. And it's like really, really conflictual for all of us. And so Trophy Wife is sort of letting go of one of those sides so that it can kind of fall over and come apart. But it's like, when you unravel one side of it and open the doors to receiving like that, it can create something really different. And that's Trophy Wife. And Trophy Wife is also like willing to be a contribution to the man in her life, and not make him wrong and not need to be right. And just be grateful for who he is and everything that he contributes, I mean, I think that's there's a lot of elements to Trophy Wife, but that's definitely a big one.
That's pretty cool. It's not what that's portrayed out.
No, it's definitely we're talking like on this podcast about like a beyond this reality version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're kind of taking the concept and flipping it on its head and going, what could this be if we were doing this from a greater sense of ourselves and a greater reality?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk about like autonomy in relationships?
Yeah, I mean that's huge. That's a huge part of the reason that he gave me this thing of Trophy Wife is because I was doing autonomy.
Well, he is Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and he, I don't know, I would say he's like a word. Would you say word meister or something like that? Is that a compliment?
Yeah, he's a meister.
Yeah, he's the meister. Yeah, but no, he has a way with words and actually using words in a way that have an energetic meaning, and they may not be the like meaning that when you open up Webster's dictionary after like 1945 or 1946, you know what I mean? He's looking at the energetics of it. So it's interesting how he's been talking about autonomy and how it actually creates separation. But can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, something that was really hard on Anthony throughout, we each had things that were difficult. And one of the things that I was doing that was really hard for him was autonomy. And like he wanted to like create this cohesive reality where I did everything that you wanted to me do when no, just kidding. But it's like no, but it was like you a huge part of what you wanted to create was like this togetherness and this oneness energy. And I was like, no, 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 no. Because I was really afraid to lose myself in relationship, you know? And we're getting some funny comments.
God.
But it's like, so let's do some clearings. So how many bases of reality are you using to create the autonomy you're choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy it and create it all, everybody?
Yep.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine podpoc, shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds.
What does that look like though when you're trying to create a creationship?
Well, you talk about it.
Both people are doing autonomy.
Yeah, well,
in one way or
look
another.
Very good.
Yeah, because we're taught to be autonomous, right?
Yeah.
Right. You want to have like your own space, your own reality, and all that, which is true. You do, but when you do it where you're excluding the other person and not including, it actually creates separation, and which requires a lot of judgment and a lot of rightness.
Totally. And I think that like when I think about like the idea of losing you, that creates autonomy for me. Like I'm like, oh, I don't want to get too close because this could all go away, you know? And I think that we definitely, a lot of people do that. Like that's one of the reasons we do autonomy for many reasons, but it's like, what if you had so much of you that if the person went away, you still had so much of you, you know?
Yeah.
And you could let your own being in fully and let their being in more and more and more.
It's like, yeah, what would it take to where like that wouldn't, be a devastation?
It wouldn't be a devastation,
Yeah.
Totally.
So how many of you are afraid to lose certain people in your life that if they did, you would be a mess and you wouldn't be able to create your life and your future because of it?
Whoa, so all of the autonomy that you're functioning from that creates that, will you destroy it and create it all?
Yeah, right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, online shorts, boys, povas, and beyonds, and all the basis of reality that you need someone to be fulfilled. Will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yeah.
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, online shorts, boys, povads, bases, and beyonds. We forgot. I think we forgot to do the new clearing there. So. Yeah. They added a word. So. Yeah. So what else? So what else is possible?
Yeah, it's like what else is possible, and I also love the basis thing because the basis is actually it's this new tool in Access. We've changed the clearing statement, but a basis is actually the cost that it's the cost that it costs you to get into something. So like if you have an investment, the amount of like capital that you put in, not the debt that like if you have a mortgage, the basis is like your down payment. And so a basis is what you pay to have something in your life. And so we energetically pay to Gary was talking to somebody on the 6th day, and he was saying, how much do you pay to be married to this person? What does it cost you? Like, what are you losing in order to be married to them? And what are you receiving? And she said, it's a multi-flow. You're like, it's costing me and it's a contribution to me at the same time. And he said, everything is.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so I guess it's acknowledging that and being with that. It's sort of like a dance, and the key is to be in allowance of that sort of ebb and flow of that all, right? And not to, sometimes we'll put our attention on the part that's costing, and then we judge it and we solidify it, and then we then there's all this avoiding and defending and fighting for and proving for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that is, we all destroy and uncreate all of that.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all that pod, poc, shorts, boys, pomas, bases, and beyonds.
Cool.
Whew, awesome.
Are these new folks on here, or like this goes out to whoever?
Public
or?
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, cool.
So we're doing this weird thing called the Access Consciousness Clearance Statement. And you can go visit www.theclearancestatement.com if you want to know what the hell we're saying. Exactly. But you don't need to know what it means. But if you want to know what it means, when we say shorts and boys, it's not what you think. Okay, it's not shorts and boys. I promise you, it's something else. The boys comes from this movie called Boys in the Hood, and it's like no matter what you do to try to get out of the hood, you can't. You keep getting sucked back in.
Back into
so
the
it's
hood.
the same thing when you try to get to, like, let's say the layers of the subconscious mind to change your shit, but like no matter how much you go into the subconscious, it doesn't change. Well, you're dealing with these nucleated spheres, and we call those the boys.
Yep.
But not like boys, not that.
Those boys.
Not those boys. It's the nucleated spheres because it's not about layers, it's about changing it on an energetic level. So yeah.
So before we finish up, what's one tool that you use in your relationship that you want to leave people with?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to share the one that I probably suck at the most.
Okay.
And that's interesting point of view. I have this point of view, which gets us to allowance. That's probably the one tool when it comes to like my chiropractic patients, the people I facilitate around the world, no problem. When it comes to family and relationships, for whatever reason, it goes way outside the window, man. And it's because I've decided what's right ahead of time. What would be the perfect and best holistic family? And when you have that point of view, anything that doesn't fall in line with that, then you have to judge it, be angry at it, be angry at them, be angry at yourself for not being better enough or perfect enough to get everybody in a line with your right, perfect, righteous point of view.
Right.
So interesting point of view. I have this point of view for everything. For everything, we'll create the space of allowance.
That's beautiful.
Doesn't mean you'll be a doormat. It just gives you the space to where there's multiple possibilities as opposed to the one you decided is right.
I love what words did Gary use when we talked to him about to coexist, like to peacefully coexist?
The joy of possibilities instead of being right. He's like, you guys would rather be right than having the joy of possibilities.
Yeah, but he used some beautiful term about like peaceful coexistence or something like that.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I have.
Yeah, he's like you'd rather fight for the rightness of your point of view than to have a peaceful coexistence or something.
That was really beautiful.
Yeah.
The energy of a peaceful coexistence, and what is possible if we were willing to have a peaceful coexistence more than the rightness of our point of view.
Yeah, and how many addicted to the adrenaline of the fight?
Amazing. So that's it, folks. Thank you guys for coming on. And gosh, it's like, what else is possible if we were all functioning beyond this reality with Trophy Wife, beyond this reality with relationships, and really from the kindness and the greatness that each of us actually is.
Yeah,
so thanks
absolutely.
for coming on.
And there's a great book out there called The Gift of Allowance.
Yeah.
So be sure to get it. It's about this big, but it may take you forever to get through it.
I got it right here. Best book ever.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right.
All right, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.